Okay, let's get right into it. If you follow the world of high-performance cars, you've definitely seen the headlines. They're screaming about a market collapse, a bubble bursting, and values just plummeting. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise to get to what's really going on behind this so-called supercar depreciation disaster.
I mean, this quote really captures the panic, right? It paints this picture of a market in total free fall, where fortunes are just evaporating overnight. It definitely feels like a crisis. But is it?
That is the million-dollar question, or in some cases, the 200,000-pound loss question. We're going to dig in and find out if this is a true market apocalypse or maybe just a return to a reality we've all kind of forgotten.
To really understand what's happening, you have to start with the one car that's become the absolute symbol of this supposed crash. You know, the one everyone points to as Exhibit A. And here it is, the Ferrari SF90. It's a 1,000-horsepower, hybrid technological marvel. I mean, this thing is the absolute pinnacle of modern supercar engineering. It's also become the poster child for catastrophic value loss and the source of so much of this online hysteria. So this number, minus 43%, it really puts things in perspective. Our source material points to an SF90 that cost a cool 465,000 pounds new just 4 years ago. Today, it's worth around 265,000. That is a 200,000-pound loss. 43% of its value just gone. That works out to almost 11% a year, which, let's be honest, sounds absolutely terrifying.
But a drop like that doesn't just happen in a vacuum, right? A really unique combination of factors all came together at the same time to create what the source calls a perfect storm.
And this really shows you how complex this whole thing is. You've got manufacturers who just went into overdrive with production after the pandemic, trying to meet this temporary spike in demand. Then you have these unique pressures in the UK market, with right-hand drive cars being harder to export. On top of that, you've got stricter noise regulations, famous badges like AMG and M kind of losing their magic, and, this is a big one, the magnifying glass of social media, turning every single price drop into a massive headline.
And here's another crucial point. The cars themselves have fundamentally changed. A decade ago, a car like the McLaren 675 LT was all about one thing, being lightweight and raw. But today's hybrid equivalent, the Lamborghini Revuelto, is almost 450 kilos heavier. Yeah, they're faster for sure, but they're also loaded with batteries and all this complex tech. And for some purists, that just kills that pure emotional connection.
Okay, let's move on, because this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. We have to ask ourselves, is this level of depreciation really a new thing, or have we all just developed a very, very short memory?
Before we officially call this a market crash, let's put that shocking 43% number for the SF90 into some much-needed historical context, and I think the answer is going to surprise you.
And right here, this is the heart of the whole thing. Just look at this data. The SF90 lost 43% in 4 years. Okay? A decade ago, a McLaren MP412C lost 44% in just 1 year. One! A Ferrari FF lost almost half its value in under 3 years. So wait a second, the depreciation back then was actually worse than it is today.
So what changed? It wasn't the numbers. It was our awareness of the numbers. A decade ago, this was just how the market worked. It happened, but it happened quietly. Today, every single sale, every auction result, every little price drop is put under a microscope and amplified by millions of people online. And that creates the perception of a unique crisis.
So, if the depreciation is totally normal, then why does today feel so different? Well, the answer isn't the crash itself. It's the completely illogical, totally unprecedented hype bubble that came right before it. This timeline pretty much shows us how we got here. The pandemic years created this really brief, really strange period where a flood of cash just poured into the market. Suddenly, cars weren't just cars anymore. They were being treated like appreciating assets, like stocks. And that created these wild, unrealistic expectations that values would only go up, which was never, ever the historical norm. And what was adding fuel to this fire? The changing meaning of exclusivity. You know, the term limited edition used to mean something. It was a promise of rarity, and that meant it had a better shot at holding its value. But that promise, it's been seriously watered down.
And you can see this trend so clearly with Ferrari's special V12s. Look at the 550 Barchetta, just 448 cars made. Fast forward a few generations to the 812 Competizione, We're talking nearly 1,600 cars. The production numbers literally more than tripled. And that just makes each car inherently less rare and, well, less special than the one that came before it. So what does this all mean for the future of the supercar market? Well, it means we're not in a crash. We're in a correction, a return to the way things have always been.
This quote from our source really says it all. The pain that some owners are feeling right now is definitely real, but it's not a sign that the market is broken. It's a sign that the market is healing from a short period of, speculative craziness. This is just normality making a comeback.
So let's be crystal clear. What burst was not the supercar market itself. What burst was the short-lived, illogical hype bubble of 2020 to 2023. We are now back in a world where cars, even really expensive ones, lose value. And you know what? That's okay.
This new normal, though, it presents some huge challenges for the car makers. How do you create passion and desire for heavier, quieter, hybrid cars? How do you justify these sky-high prices when electric cars can offer similar straight-line speed for a lot less money? And maybe the biggest question, will they finally learn to manage production to bring back the real meaning of exclusivity?
And all of that leaves us with one final big question. As technology keeps marching forward and supercars get faster, heavier, and way more complex, the manufacturers are facing their biggest challenge yet, figuring out how to keep the soul, the passion, and the pure excitement alive for the next generation. What really is the future of the supercar dream?